In this lesson, we'll create our new Employee Registry React project. So as always, I've navigated to the React directory on my computer where I am keeping all of the projects for this course. And as always, we're going to utilize Create React App to create a starter project. So here, I'm going to start with npx, then create-react-app, and then finally the name of our project/folder, which for us will be employee-registry. So as always, this process can take up to a couple minutes as we fetch all of our dependencies and as Create React App initializes the starter files and all of that wonderful stuff. So we are going to be utilizing Prettier in this section, but we are not going to be utilizing anything else like Tailwind because, of course, the intent here is that we're not going to do much CSS styling because most of our components are going to come from a component library with predefined styles for all of our components. With that said, Prettier is always a nice thing to have. I always love that feeling of saving the file and seeing it instantly be formatted. So Prettier is always a good choice for all projects today. So let's navigate into our new employee registry folder. And here I'm going to install Prettier. So npm install. And then we're going to add a --save-dev flag because it is a dev dependency. The end user does not need Prettier. And here I'm going to put Prettier. Save that. And with that, we're good to enter into VS Code and configure some basic settings. So I'm going to execute code with a space and a dot to open VS Code in the current directory. Here we go. And let's begin with some common settings that we set up in the previous sections. So on a Mac, I'm going to press Command-Shift-P. On a Windows, that's going to be Control-Shift-P. And I'm going to search for Preferences, Settings, and we should see this option of opening the settings in our UI. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to make sure I select Workspace up here to make sure that I am only setting these configuration settings for this project, for this workspace, rather than globally. And we're just going to enable things like autosave and Prettier formatting. So right here under commonly used, you'll see autosave. I'm going to change that to be on focus change. Then I'm going to search for format on save. And I'm going to check this checkbox. Then I'm going to search for default formatter. And I'm going to select the Prettier option in VS Code. There we go. That looks good, and just to confirm, we should see a new VS Code directory with a settings.json file, and here's where we have those settings. In fact, I can save the file, and we should see Prettier automatically format the JSON. Perfect. The next thing I want to do is to go into my source directory and the index.js file. This is where we bootstrap the React application. We are not going to be utilizing strict mode. As a reminder, that is a component that checks our code for deprecated React features that will be removed in future versions. We don't care about that, so we can remove this component and just render the app component. We also don't need this report web vitals import. That is if you want to start measuring performance in your React application and do things like send a message to an analytics service based on performance. We don't really care about that for this section, so we can remove the import and also remove this comment and the invocation of report web vitals below. So at the end, you should just see React, React DOM, the index CSS file, which has some base CSS styles, the importing of our app component, and then the rendering of our app component in the app. And then finally, the last thing I want to do in our terminal is use npx and Prettier and ask to write to all the files and folders in this directory, which I can target with a dot. So we're just going to immediately run Prettier on everything, just so we start with everything nice and formatted. And at this point, what I usually do is also add a git commit if you want to do that. This is the initial commit for the project in its starting position. All right. Okay, so we have a new project, and in the next lesson, we're going to talk about the component library that we're going to be using throughout the section, and it is Material UI. So I will see you in the next lesson.